Welcome in, everyone. We are live, continuing our Olympics coverage here at DNVR. It's the Denver Sports Podcast, live from the Xfinity studio. We're doing a little bit of a different take on this. You guys are probably just coming from the watch along, which was just happening between our good old friends Canada and Czech. And that was an insane game. In Czechia, that was an insane game. And now we get to do a little. I almost think this is like the mid show of the day. Get to talk a little Olympics, a little hockey today, and then you guys are going to have your official DNVR Avs show later in the day. It's a full packed day of Colorado Avalanche hockey Olympic coverage here at DNVR, and we're excited. Welcome to the show, AJ.
Thanks, buddy. This is actually, funny enough, my day off.
Of course. Where else would you be on your day off rather than spending it just streaming and live talking about hockey and Olympics?
Yeah, doing a watch along, then doing TDSP, then trying to tackle some errands that I'm a few days behind on. Okay,
so are you not doing the show later this afternoon then?
No, I will not.
Okay, so at least you get a little bit of a break. This will be the end of your coverage for the day. But it's been a good day of hockey so far. We've got a lot to talk about. Of course, we'll dive into plenty of Olympics coverage. And because this is our I always call this our national show. It's a show where we talk about, all of the biggest sports topics, not just the specifics of the Avs or the specifics of the Nuggets or the Broncos. Like, we kind of try to expand a little bit beyond some of our just specific show topics. But we'll talk some general Olympic topics as well. But of course, everything's centered around our Colorado Avalanche, who are balling out right now out in Italy. This has been fun, man. I know it started out a little bit slow. I mean, anytime you watch hockey that's like 11-0, you're kind of sitting there thinking, okay, what are we doing here? But it's gotten a lot better. This last game was incredible. But we also look ahead at the schedule in front of us. U.S. and Sweden coming up at 1:10 Mountain Time, and then the semifinals coming up. Like, I'm locked in, man. I'm ready to go.
Yeah, the round robin has never been my favorite part because, the in order to have a robust tournament with a lot of countries, you have to invite some of them that maybe would not have. They're not competitive. There are about 7 competitive hockey countries in the world at any given time, and really, like, you could extend that out a little bit for the Denmarks and the Latvias. Switzerland, obviously, who has been my love of the tournament. I have not stopped talking about since before it began, and they are in the third period of an upset bid right now, so that is making me feel good. It's fun when a dumb bit that you decide to start doing actually makes you look like you know what you're talking about. It's pretty cool.
Yeah.
So, like, some of the round robin stuff, like Canada, France, and Finland, Italy, like, those were not fun to watch. They're stat padding games where you're just like, wow, this is crazy. Look at this team, looks amazing. And you're like, yeah, some of these guys aren't playing in, like, good European leagues.
Yeah.
The thing about the Czechia team is that you have a handful of guys that are not in the NHL, but have been in the NHL and are among the best players in the Czechia Pro League, which is a good, solid European league. It's one of the better ones. Like, that is not a league that you look at and you go, these guys are all bums. Like, no offense to Italy and France, but there are not many guys on those teams that are really high-level hockey players on the world stage. And we saw that. So, like, you could get a little sleepy at times during those. But the quarterfinals and on, like, that's when the tournament is go time. That is when it gets good. And we've seen that bear fruit today so far already. And the best on-paper matchup of Sweden-United States hadn't even started.
Yeah, dude. It's funny because you look at other Olympic-type formats within other sports. You've got the Olympics for basketball and the Summer Olympics. And then for baseball, you've got the World Baseball Classic, which is actually starting up here in a couple days, and you see it is actually one of my, I don't know, it's one of the funnier parts of watching these tournaments is you'll see, like in baseball, for example, you'll see like the Dominican Republic go up against like Italy. And, Team Italy has dudes who are like accountants and they have like day jobs and they're going up against some of the best baseball players in the world. And there's something a little bit humorous about that, at least initially when you watch that. But like you said, from a competitive standpoint, it just doesn't get the juices flowing. It's more entertaining in different ways than it is from an actual competitive standpoint. But I'm speaking of the competitive side of things. All 8 of the Avs are currently, made it to the quarterfinals, playing right now. Obviously, Canada just getting the win over Czechia just moments ago. But from your perspective, you've been watching the Avs this entire time. You've been watching all the players, all of the games. How would you grade the performance of the Colorado Avalanche players specifically? Maybe as a whole. I know there's some guys who have had better performances than others specifically, but like as a whole, are we as pleased of what we were expecting from the Avs so far?
A+. Yeah. Shockingly and genuinely, shockingly, all 8 players have scored goals.
Yeah.
They all had moments in the tournament. And, Devon Taves has kind of been, and Yoel Kiviranta have been like the quietest of the players. And Kiviranta had a 2-goal game, and Devon Taves just assisted on the game-tying goal for Canada. With like 3 minutes left in the third period, something like that. Like, A+. Nathan McKinnon has been fantastic. Martin Necas had some of the biggest question marks coming in because he was going to be a huge part of Czechia, and he's got a very, no pun intended, but a very checkered past in the Stanley Cup playoffs. And he just tied Jaromir Jagr for most productive player in Czechia's Olympic history. Mm-hmm. He had 8 points in 5 games. He, upon his exit, his 23 shots on goal was first in the entire tournament. Now, there are some games played considerations because the teams that the top 4 seeds did not have to play yesterday. Necas played 5 games. Some of those teams only have 4. So, yeah. But you're talking like Martin Necas was fantastic. He was Czechia's best player. He had an assist on the go-ahead goal in the third period for Czechia, and heartbreaker, had a breakaway with about 1:10 left in the third period that could have pushed Czechia across the finish line and sent 3 Avs teammates home. Didn't get it done. Jordan Binnington made 1 good save.
Yep.
So obnoxious in so many ways.
I know. I was watching your guys' watch along, and I feel like there's conflicting emotions. And I was actually talking to our buddy Spence about this before as well. And Spence was like, "Look, man, I want the Avs to do well, but like, there's a huge part of me that's also very much like, I want Team Canada to lose because I want our guys to go home and rest." So it is a little bit, it is a little conflicting. But I look at this as a win-win situation, right? If they win, all right, we get to watch the Avs continue to play, and it's good hockey and all of those things. And if they lose, then breath of fresh air. They can go back, they can rest, and get ready for next Wednesday. But it is still kind of exciting either way. And I saw people in the chat during the watch along were kind of comparing some of these runs to like Jokic when he was playing for Team Serbia and like rooting for the Serbian team to win. And I think there's some differences there. I mean, Jokic was Team Serbia. I mean, like that he was carrying that team on his back. But it is cool to see the Avs guys on all of their respective platforms, on all of their different teams for playing for their different countries, just balling out, man. Like it's got to make you feel good about how they're going to play, hopefully, once they come back to NHL hockey in about a week.
Yeah, I would say the biggest number one massive difference between rooting for Jokic and Team Serbia at the Olympics versus rooting for these guys is that the Avs guys are mid-season. They have considerations of the more games they play are more chances for them to get hurt, more dinged up. It's less rest that they have. Whereas when Jokic was in the Olympics, it was still an abbreviated summer, but the Olympics ended and he got like 6 weeks off or something. Like he had time off. As of right now, if it's a United States Canada gold medal game, that will feature 4 Avs players. Those 4 players, they'll finish the game in the after. It'll be about 5:30 Italy time, and they will have to get on an airplane and they will have to fly back to the United States. Their circadian rhythm is going to be all jacked up. They're going to be crossing 8 time zones to get back to Denver. That is a lot to ask. Anybody that's ever traveled that kind of distance will tell you that jet lag is very real, and it takes a couple of days to adjust to. They play Wednesday. So they will get home if they leave immediately after winning a gold medal or a silver medal, whatever. Immediately after the game, they will get home still Monday. And you're talking they're going to get home sometime on Monday. They play Wednesday.
Yeah.
So
it feels like a scheduled loss.
It's very well, and they start with 5 games in 7 days. So their schedule is brutal. So if you were watching the watch along and you saw Rudo and I just being like, we're fine if they lose this, it is entirely about the Avalanche and about them getting some modicum of rest.
Yeah, which is fair. Which is totally fair. Wait,
it's
remind me.
That.
Remind me. I know they play at home on Thursday, but they play on the road Wednesday, though, right? Or am I getting those switched?
Yes, they play at Utah and then they're at home against Minnesota. So that is a very tough back-to-back to begin with. Like that's already going to be complicated. But they are the game against Minnesota. Minnesota starts later than everybody else. So they don't play the day before. They don't play on Wednesday. That is a scheduled loss for the Avalanche. Literally, that is exactly what we talk about when we talk about a scheduled loss. The Avalanche play on Wednesday. They travel, go back. They come back to Colorado, but it's still travel. Minnesota will be in Denver, just hanging out on Wednesday. They're not playing an NHL game, and it's even worse because the Avalanche are playing Utah, that weird team that just has their number this year and has played them very tight. It is a mess. They have 5. They start with 5 and 7.
Yeah.
Like that is a very, very difficult schedule to come right. And they have no rest from it. So that it is going to be tough. I am glad that Natchez is going to get some rest. I don't know where Switzerland-Finland game is right now. I had to pause it in order to do this. But if Finland loses, that is 2 more abs that are coming home in Arturi Lehkonen and Joel Kiviranta. Like, just keep them coming. And then 1 more is guaranteed to go home. It's either Brock Nelson or Gabe Landeskog in the afternoon game today. So we could have as many as half of the Avalanche coming home today. Which
I know. I
am rooting for, but I am also like, if Nathan McKinnon joins the Triple Gold Club, there are very few guys who have ever done that. That is a World Championship gold. That is a Stanley Cup, and that is the obviously the Olympic gold. Yeah,
it does feel like a breath, a little bit of a sigh of relief, though. I think we felt the same way about with the 4 Nations, right? Like it's a little bit of a sigh of relief when everyone returns healthy and everything like that. 2-0 Swiss, I see in the chat, by the way.
That I know. I just didn't know how much time was left.
Gotcha. I before we hit to our first break, I said, of course, we're going to be talking a lot about the Avs here in this show, but I wanted to do some kind of more general Olympic coverage as well. And I wanted to get your perspective. This might be a dumb question because you're a hockey guy, but from your perspective, are you just a Winter Olympics kind of guy? Because I know some people, some people are very much like, I'm a Summer Olympics, I hate the Winter Olympics, and vice versa. Are you just Winter Olympics? Do you prefer one or the other? Like, what's your take on the overall Olympics as a whole?
Nah, Christian, you know me well enough by now, man, to know that I'm just a junkie. I'm into all of
it,
man. I love all of it. It's the best. The Olympics is the perfect time to get irrationally attached to a sport you otherwise don't follow. And frankly, can't follow because there isn't the same kind of infrastructure. You can't turn on ESPN and watch curling on a regular basis.
Dude. I'm so bummed about that.
And what I love, I'm always going to be team Winter Olympics because you look at the Summer Olympics and it's a lot of running and jumping and swimming, like sports that you can kind of do at a really low level, things that are recreational activities as is. And in the winter, it's like, all right, things are frozen, so I'm going to attach knives to the bottom of my feet and come up with a bunch of different ways to go about business. Like it is a fascinating the way that they keep coming up with stuff. I mean, we're talking about like the double luge.
Yeah.
Where the luge wasn't enough. Now you just decided to have another person sit on top of them,
dude. Or the other one is like the triathlon skiing one where you're like biathlon, where you're like skiing and then you've got like this crossbow on your back. You're shooting things. Then you're skiing.
You have a gun attached to your back, and you're just like, all right, now I got to lay down in the snow and I got to shoot a target and I got to get up and I got to ski some more.
Yeah.
What?
It's insane.
I heard bonkers.
I heard someone say, Summer Olympics doesn't have enough danger associated with it. Winter Olympics, it's like every sport that you do, it's like if you don't win, you die, right? Like there's a chance that you could die if you mess up. Where so someone was like, yeah, we got to start throwing sharks in the pools at like, the Summer Olympics games and stuff like that, because there's not enough heat there. I will say before we hit our first break, why is basketball considered a Summer Olympic sport? It's played in the winter. It's played in the same time as hockey is, yet we get basketball in the summer. What's the reasoning behind that?
The real problem here is that basketball is played in the winter, not that it's in the Summer Olympics.
Yeah, I agree. Especially also, with baseball being the only sport in the summer, it's like throw basketball in there.
It should not be played in a stadium. It should be street ball only.
Oh, jeez.
If you're going to put basketball at the Summer Olympics, it should be outside on a blacktop.
That would be absurd, man. I've watched some of their aircraft carrier games where they do like a college basketball game like on a aircraft carrier in the ocean, and it's absurd. It's absurd. So
wow, anyway. I can't shoot. This is dunks only game because the wind effect is a problem.
I love it. All right, we got to hit our first break. After the break, we'll continue talking about the Avs. We'll do some Olympic break notes, and also we'll get a take on AJ's favorite non-hockey Olympic sport. That's all coming up next. Well, I want to give a huge shout out right now to our friends over at Xfinity. Xfinity is the perfect place to go for your intelligent and reliable Wi-Fi. And right now, Xfinity has this awesome deal going on where it's their 5-year price guarantee. That means the price that you lock in today on your Xfinity Wi-Fi is the price that you're going to pay for the next 5 years. That's insane. That's beating inflation. That's beating the economy. I mean, you're really getting a great deal with that. And the cool thing about Xfinity Wi-Fi too is that it is intelligent Wi-Fi, which means when problems and challenges start to pop up, as they do with any sort of Wi-Fi, it reacts. It protects you against those things so that you can have peace of mind that your Wi-Fi is taking care of you and you can just live your life. You don't have to worry about your Wi-Fi running in the background. So right now, lock in your price and unlock the possibilities with Xfinity. You can learn more by going to xfinity.com. Again, that's xfinity.com. Xfinity. Imagine that. Select plans only. Restrictions apply. Also want to give a huge shout out to our friends over at Raising Cane's. Raising Cane's is the best place to go for your craveable chicken fingers and your chicken dreams. They say make your chicken dreams come true. It's kind of a mouthful, but it truly is a dream come true anytime you go to Raising Cane's. It's the best place to go for lunch, dinner, maybe even breakfast, whatever you're into. They've got fresh squeezed lemonade. They've got fresh sweet tea that you can actually buy in grocery stores too. I learned that for the first time the other day. But of course, they're best in-class, hand-battered, cooked-to-order chicken fingers along with their cane sauce. I mean, you just cannot go wrong with Raising Cane's. Everything is built fresh, made fresh, in-house every single day. So if you're hungry like I am, go head out to your nearest location, your nearest Raising Cane's, and get your box combo today. Make your craveable dreams a reality. Raising Cane's chicken fingers, one love. All right, back here on the Denver Sports Podcast, where we talk about all the biggest sports topics happening right here, right now. We're in the middle of a dead period where the Nuggets are off for the All-Star break, Broncos are in off-season, Rockies haven't really started yet, and so we're talking, of course, hockey, because that's the only thing that's happening right now, and it is the best winter Olympic sport, in my opinion. I'm sure you guys feel the same way at home. But AJ, before we move on to some actual Avs topics here, I wanted to ask that question. Aside from hockey in the Olympics, in the Winter Olympics, what is your favorite Olympic sport?
Oh, by far, curling. I love curling.
Let's go.
Isn't even like an ironic, like if I had more access to curling on a regular basis, I'd watch it.
Yeah, I'm 100% in with you on that, man. And this is the first year that I've actually got into it. I was watching Team Corey and Corey in the beginning of the Olympics. They ended up winning silver this year. And it like opened my eyes to a new side of Winter Olympics that I'll never come back from. I mean, like I am a curler through and through now. I want to go out and actually try it for myself. It's electric. And if you haven't given curling a chance, give it like an entire, I don't know if they call it like a game or a match or whatever, but give it the entirety. What is it? 10 ends, I think they play. Give it the whole thing, man. It's worth the watch.
Yeah, it's great. The skill and the precision and the touch and the sweeping and the shouting, all of it is great. And like the strategy is a little tough to pick up on the fly because the announcers don't really walk you through things. They announce a curling match as if the people watching are very familiar with curling, which makes it a lot tougher to really get into. Because sometimes you're just like, oh, okay, like the announcer will see something happen and he'll go, oh, okay, like there's this and this and this happening. And it's like, oh, okay,
like, sure.
I'm having a hard time picking up on some of this. So I would like a little more, bust out the telestrator, like talk to me, chief, explain some stuff to me.
Get the more novice broadcast.
Exactly. Like walk us through it. Tell us why these things are important, why these things happen, like why this matters. The same is true for the hockey broadcast, by the way. It's a very high entry barrier, but with hockey, it's like you have the puck and you go down the ice and you score a goal or you don't score a goal. Like the scoring system is very easy to understand.
But also hockey is a much more accessible sport for the common American, right? You can turn on the TV and odds are you're going to find hockey available to you when it's in season a lot easier than curling. You got to get pretty specific if it's curling. I will say this too. I have this tendency in my subconscious to watch sports that I've never played before and have this belief that I could somehow do it. I could somehow compete at that sport at a lower level, but like I'll watch like skiing or snowboarding, like the half pipe or whatever. And I've never snowboarded a day in my life. I'm a skier. And I watched snowboarding though, the half pipe, and I'm like, okay, I probably couldn't do like as many tricks as these people do, and definitely not as good. But I'd like to believe that I could do like a version of that pretty much, off on the whim. Curling, I couldn't even come close, dude. I watched that and I'm like, I'd be throwing that thing through the backboard. I'd be leaving it short. Like there's zero chance I even did that. And hockey's the same way, man. I've stood on skates a couple times and I watch what people who actually know how to skate and play hockey do. And I'm like, I could never even come close to that.
Yeah, I think the Dunning-Kruger effect is never more powerful than when random people are watching the Olympics. Yeah. Where they're just like, this looks accessible. I think I got this. Yeah. And it's funny you say that about curling because on the pod last week sometime, we were asked, which sport do you think the DNVR Avalanche beat could at least compete in? And like, obviously we'd be terrible at it, but like, which one could we do? And we chose curling. Because we were like, all right, one of us could toss the stone and the others of us could just fall on our faces while we're trying to sweep, and we would be so bad at it.
Yeah.
But it was like, well, we can't bobsled. I can't fit in a bobsled.
Yeah.
We can't luge. I'd break that thing. I don't know that I've never skied. I've never snowboarded. So I would be zero help in any of those.
That's true. That's fair.
No way figure skating. And we weren't allowed to pick hockey. So
I love that. I know. But see, like with Summer Olympics, I look at like javelin throwing and stuff. I'm like, I could do that. Come on. Like I wouldn't throw it that far, but I mean, I could throw a javelin. I'd make it happen.
Oh, sure. I could long jump. Sure. I could run up to the line and thrust myself forward and probably fall down. And like that, it wouldn't be any good, but it's this is what we were saying earlier. It's accessible, right? Like it's a thing that you can at least like do.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I guess curling's accessible, but yeah, I get what you're saying. All right, back to our topics. I wanted to kind of go back because I know the midway point of this of the NHL season's already come and gone. This, feels kind of weird to have like an all-star break of sorts that's not really directly right in the middle of the season. But it is a way of splitting up the hockey season into two different categories. And so I wanted to go back, and I know you guys just did a roundtable that's, if you guys are diehards, go check that out. But I wanted to ask a question that maybe you could kind of give some insight into that you guys talked about on the roundtable, but we could talk about it here on the show. And I'll start with this. Which Avs player from the first chunk of the season for the Colorado Avalanche has been the most impressive to you so far from your perspective?
Yeah, I think it's Martin Necas. He's doing more with less in a big role. Arturi Lehkonen is a complimentary player for Team Finland. Joakim Ranta is not even playing today in the knockout stages. So like, X those guys immediately.
Yeah.
Not that they haven't been good, because I think both have been solid. Gabe Landeskog is playing more of a complimentary role for Team Sweden. He's been good. He's been really good. Devon Taves, same thing with Team Canada. So you're really only down to the three guys, I think, between Cale Makar, Nathan MacKinnon, and Martin Necas. And McKinnon and Makar have each other. And frequently have Taves as well, for that matter.
Yeah.
But Martin Necas is playing with guys who aren't in the NHL. And had Czechia pulled off the upset today, he would have had a chance to push for the all-time scoring lead in Olympic history with NHLers, obviously. Like, that's pretty impressive. And again, he doesn't have as much help around him. And David Pastrnak is like the superstar of Czechia. He should have been the guy that would have been driving the boat. Coming into the tournament, I would have expected Pastrnak and Necas to have swapped, where Necas was a little up and down and his stats ended up solid, but nothing great. And Pastrnak was the star. He's the one who finished with the 8 points in 5 games, and he was the one that you watched every game and went, God, this guy's incredible. But it was Marty Necas. The Marty party was legit for the Olympic Games. He was everything that you wanted him to be. I was not expecting it. Necas had not been very good for the Avalanche over the last handful of weeks leading up to the break. And you just don't trust him because of his playoff history.
Yeah.
And flat out, he kicked ass. He was awesome.
Does this build your confidence that he's going to have a bounce back second part of the season for the Avs, or is this more of a, hey, yeah, I mean, I hope, obviously we all hope that he plays like this for the rest of the year, but is this more of a, I don't know, environmental, circumstantial situation that you see from Necas and his upped play recently?
I would say I already had confidence he was going to be fine in the second half of the year. I'm not worried. I'm still not worried about that. This obviously is like, okay, great. He just keeps that rhythm going. Come right back to the NHL and go back to dominating, big guy. Yeah. More than anything, it gives me, it opens the door for hope for me, which is always the scary part. As a true born hater, hope is a real scary thing, but it gives hope that come playoff time, Marty Necas is ready.
Yeah.
Like he's ready to take on the reins. Last year I gave a pass. There was a lot going on. He's filling the shoes of Mikko Rantanen. That's real hard to do. Those are some big ass shoes. Like, it is a really tough job to take over following Mikko Rantanen, the trade 1-for-1, and then Mikko's the guy that knocks you out of the playoffs. Like, there's a lot of things that were tough. It was a really tough spot. This year, he gets paid. The Avalanche pay him like a true blue superstar. They gave him a massive contract. They signed him for what is essentially the rest of his days as an impact player in the NHL. They show full belief in him, which is a huge thing that he did not get in Carolina that he wanted. They are all in on Martin Necas being a superstar. It gives me hope that he's ready to step into that limelight and that he just had to fail a few times on a big stage in order for him to say, all right, I'm ready. Because this is as good as I could have ever expected from him at the Olympics.
I feel like it also reminds us what he's capable of. You know, I mean, we're aware of what he can do. But like you said, when you start to have, you know, some of those bad games that pile up, you just start to feel a little nervous. You start to kind of question things. So if nothing else, this just reminds you, like, hey, that's what's still in him. And like you said, and then at this point, you just hope that it can be a perfect storm come playoffs. But it's not a bad thing. It's definitely not a bad thing. And that kind of led me to my second point, which I've had a lot of people, you know, I've had conversations with people about a lot of these different Olympic formats, all-star formats. You know, is it better for a team to have a break or to just keep playing? And I think the answer is pretty easy, but I'll toss it out to you anyways. Are long breaks like this really a good thing for players? I know sometimes it's easy to split, you know, pre-All-Star break versus post-All-Star break. And there's certain players that play much worse post-All-Star break than they did pre-All-Star break. But from your perspective, is a big break like this, if, you know, for the players that aren't playing in the Olympics, actually a good thing for this team, for the Avs?
I think so. They were playing like shit before the break. which makes it like, hey, a little reset.
Yep.
A lot of guys were dinged up and were like, Ross Colton was going in and out of the lineup every day because he just couldn't quite. He was like 60% ready to go, which if you're below 50, you don't play, right? So he's like right on the edge every single game. And this gave him an opportunity to get fully healthy. All the guys who aren't at the Olympics are going to be fully healthy.
Yeah.
That includes both of your goaltenders who have both battled a little bit of injury issues this year. That's a huge thing for me. So I'm thinking purely in terms of health here because they weren't playing well enough for the break for me to worry about it. I do really, really worry about the guys who are going to have deep runs at the Olympics. Like Natchez is coming back now. You added 5 games to his slate. That's fine.
Mm-hmm.
But you throw 7 games, 6 games, 7 games, and then the lack of time between getting back and having to go back into the NHL grind. And the Avalanche have a huge grind ahead of them in the month of March. I think they only have 1-2 day break in all of March, and they play every other day or more. So
yeah. Wow. Also, real fast, looks like the Finns are this game's heating up, man. 2-2, just tied it with a minute left. Goodness gracious.
Is it Lecky? I think it's Lecky that gets it. How
can you not love Olympic hockey? How can you not?
I don't know.
Are you not entertained? Yeah, we got to get like a monitor pulled up in here, Tiff, and we got to lock in. Yeah, no, I'm with you, and we got to hit our next break. But just to kind of finish what we were talking about, it's the same argument that I make with really any sport, but especially sports like this, hockey. I'll throw baseball in there too for like pitchers. Like when a team has a long break going into the playoffs, if they win the division and they get that that wild card series off. Like some people are like, oh, it's too much break. It's even the Rockies history, like, right? Like if the Rockies had gotten that break back in what was it, 07 or whatever it was, what would that have looked like? For pitchers nowadays, like you got to give your arm a rest. Rest with athletes at this level nowadays is never a bad thing. So yeah, I'm with you on that. Like I said, it's probably an easy answer, but still had to ask it. But we got to take our next break. After the break, I asked the question, who is the greatest Winter Olympic athlete currently competing in the Olympic Games today? And also, biggest Avs storylines to keep an eye on in the second half. That's coming up next. Well, I want to give some love to our friends right now over at Bet365. Bet365 is back, and I am so excited that they are back partnering with us again. And I can't say enough good things about Bet365. If you're like me and you like to put a little cash down before some games, put a little skin in the action, Bet365 is the place to go. Using their code DNVR365 when you sign up, you can get all different sorts of deals. But my personal favorite, you guys know me, I'm a baseball guy, cover the Rockies, love baseball through and through. They've got the early payout offer for Major League Baseball, which means if your team goes up by 5 runs at any point throughout the game, you're immediately paid out. You're immediately a winner. You get the money, and no matter what happens, even if the other team comes back as the game goes on, you still win that money. So use that code DNVR365 when you sign up. And right now, new customers can get $200 in bonus bets when you bet $5 win or lose. Sign up. Use code DNVR365. Deposit $10. Place a bet for $5. Get $200 in bonus bets if your bet wins or loses. Bonus bets can be used on the spread, total, player props, futures, and more. Whatever the moment, it's never ordinary at Bet365. Must be 21 or older. Physically located in Colorado. Please gamble responsibly. If you or someone you know has a gambling problem and wants help, call or text 1-800-GAMBLER. Also got to give some love to our friends at New Built Restoration and Construction. They are an incredible company built up of licensed general contractors that take care of you. And we know owning a home is challenging sometimes, right? It can be awesome at times, but there are times where something goes wrong, right? Maybe it's a flooding in your basement. Maybe so it's water damage. Maybe there's a small fire. Maybe there's something that just is unexpected that came up and you got to get it fixed. Well, you can call New Built Restoration and Construction. They are available 24/7 to take care of you and your needs so that you can live a stress-free life inside your home. And they offer things like fire damage, water removal, mold removal, repair services, commercial projects, and beyond. They are true DNVR fans, and we love that we get to partner with them. So when that home emergency hits, New Built Restoration and Construction will be there at nubilt.com or call 720-902 7472 and let them know that DNVR sent you. Well, it's like we're turning this into a Sweden versus Finland watch along, or not Sweden, Switzerland versus Finland watch along. I think regulation just ended. Is that correct? Is it 2-2 going into 3-on-3? All right, let's go. Yeah, Tiff just pulled it up there on the screen for me. While we just fired this up, I wanted to ask the question: Who's the greatest Winter Olympic athlete in your eyes currently competing in the Winter Olympics? It could be any sport, not just hockey too, although it might be a hockey answer for you.
Genuinely, I have no idea, man. I don't follow enough like downhill skiing and like figure skating enough to have any idea. So I'll just stay right in the pot. I mean, ask Kale. Just say the country of Norway.
That is a Kale question.
And like you could go with Michaela Schifrin and just say I'm just guessing that she's fantastic at this.
I think she just won gold.
Yeah, and I think she's probably done it before, and I know she's got a ton of records in her sport. So I'll go with that.
That's a good one. I like that. Lindsey Vonn could have been in that mix, although she it blew up her leg and apparently learned that you didn't have to use an ACL to go skiing. But that was pretty insane, the fact that she was doing that. So that's a good one. All right. Then from your perspective, from a hockey standpoint, who's the greatest hockey player on the ice in this Winter Olympics?
I just think that it's his first Olympic Games, but Connor McDavid in his first Olympic Games ties the all-time scoring record. Yeah. And it's hard to imagine he doesn't record a point in however many games they have left. So he's probably going to break it and be the guy. That I think is the right answer.
Yeah. Fair.
It's his first shot at it, and he's better than everybody. So that's a big one. Sidney Crosby's also got to get some love, though. He's been fantastic in his career with the Olympic opportunities. There aren't a ton of NHL players who actually have had this chance because of the 12-year break. That's an entire generation that hasn't gotten to do this. So it's hard for for me to go with very many NHLers.
Yeah.
With long track records, but McDavid is, first kick at the can, does it better than anybody.
Of course. Team Canada, man.
Yeah, give it to him.
I got to give it to him. Yeah, I like that answer. Those are good answers. Transitioning back on to the Avs side of things. We got the second half of hockey coming up here for the Avs starting on Wednesday. And you were just talking about the stretch of games that they have going in pretty much right out of the gate. It's going to be intense. But from your perspective, what's the biggest storylines to keep an eye on for the Avs in the second half? We know power play is a big one. Yes. We know trade deadlines coming up. What are you keeping your eyes on?
Yeah, I think trade deadline is my immediate concern. I think day one, the first conversation that we will be talking about is how the guys that have deep runs at the Olympics adjust. Mm-hmm. Because I cannot stress to you enough, circadian rhythm is a real thing, and hockey players are massive creatures of habit, and they are going to be all out of line for about a week.
Yeah.
That's a really and they play a lot of games in that week. So that's going to be the immediate storyline. The trade deadline is March 6th. So that is the next storyline. And then after that, it is the power play. The actual on ice, how do the Avs do? It's definitely the power play. Health is always going to be there, of course, but it is the power play is the only thing that has not been high end at any point for the Avalanche.
And I know you guys have talked about this ad nauseum on your guys' show, but from someone who is not on your guys' show, I want to come out and say it's been so refreshing watching the power play in the Olympics. And just to get to where you're not sitting there, it doesn't feel heavy. It doesn't feel like a trigger word when you're talking about it through the lens of the Olympics with the Avalanche. And
Finland wins it.
Oh, Finland!
And it's Arturi freaking Lehkonen.
Let's go. 3-2 final. Got it done with about 7.5 minutes, or about 3.5 minutes, I should say, into OT. Lecky with the game winner, the walk-off. Oh, that's awesome. That's awesome. Dude, this has been so fun. The power play, though, man, it's been the talk of this entire damn season for the Avs, and it's so nice watching them play competent power play hockey. Is there any world in which the power play improves in the second half because of what we've seen in the Olympics, or is this just a one-off that we're just going to have to enjoy and hold our breaths in the second half for?
I think it's almost impossible for it to get worse. Their net power play percentage is 10.1, which is last in the NHL right now by 2 full percentage points. And over the last 8 years is third worst ever. So you're just talking about it's too talented. It's too bad. It's been too bad for you to say this is the real power play, and this will definitely continue. I think not firing Dave Haxtell is a really hard argument to make for the coaching staff, and saying this is the guy. He was brought in to help this unit, and he hasn't done it. He made it worse. I just don't understand. So
that was going to be my question. What's the mark? What, you said, okay, 10% is where they're at in that range. I would imagine, I haven't looked at the numbers, but just off the top of my head, I'm going to guess that the best teams are operating somewhere around 30%. Is that fair? Yeah. Are you feel like if the playoffs come around and the Avs have improved their power play percentage, what's the number that you look at where you're like, I'm okay with that? That's good enough.
I want the second half. I want their power play percentage from game 1 of post-Olympics to the end of the season to be at least 20%.
Okay. 20%. Yeah, I think that's fair.
25 would really be great.
Because I think, and you and I have talked about this, and I know you guys talk about this so much on your show, but we're not asking for the world here. I think it's, I think it's still crazy to me that they're not one of the better power play units in all of hockey, given the players available to you. But at this point, given how bad it's been, you're just looking for competent. You're looking for something that doesn't stress you out. You're looking for just almost bare minimum, right? Where you're like, hey, if you can just be a competent power play unit, no one needs you to be the best in the world. We just need you to hold your own. And that's it feels like that feels too much to ask for sometimes. But also then you look at the players in the unit and you're like, it should not be that hard. But again, we're preaching to a choir here.
It needs to actually feel like an advantage again.
Yeah. Because
not only has the Avalanche power play been brutally bad in terms of scoring, but it leads the league in shorthanded goals allowed.
Yeah.
Stop.
I know.
Stop being bad. And normally that's bad advice. But the players are too good for this to continue. It boggles the mind that it's this bad, that it's disappointing, or that it's not a very good unit. Sometimes those things happen even to great teams and even to great players, but that it truly has stopped being an advantage for the Avalanche to have more players on the ice. It is not an advantage. I don't understand how they let it get to this point. It is so dumb. And imagine the Dodgers playing with 9 players and the Rockies playing with 8, and it being advantage Rockies. What?
Yeah, I know. No, well, so the comparison that I want to draw is the Nuggets. The Nuggets, although I'm going to set injuries aside for a second, Nuggets are one of the best teams in the NBA. I would argue second or third, at least, behind OKC and maybe one other team, maybe the Spurs. Throw them in the mix as well. But Nuggets are one of the best teams in the NBA. They are one of the worst teams in clutch points when it comes to clutch moments. We always talk in the office about, the clutch for the Nuggets being the same thing as the power play for the Avs. It's like, if there's a moment where the Nuggets have to play in the clutch, it's just as bad as the Avs playing in the power play. And it's the same head scratcher where you look at it and you're like, okay, you've got Jamal Murray, you've got Jokic, you've got, Aaron Gordon when he's healthy, you've got Christian Brown. You have a unit of players who, by all measures, are some of the best in your respective league, and yet for some reason, it defies logic they just like shut off their brains, or there's some dysfunction when it matters most. When in the Avs case, when they have the man advantage, when in the Nuggets case, when it comes down to the final shot, like those situations for those two teams is like the kryptonite. And so it's like, yeah, we are going to talk about it a lot because it doesn't make sense. It doesn't add up. It defies logic because you look at the players and you look at the capabilities and the opportunities that these players have, and it just doesn't make sense. It just does not make sense. So I agree with you. Outside of firing someone, what else can you do? Like, it's a wait and see type of situation. And so people have been fired. Coaches have been fired for much less than what we've seen from the Avs power play unit this year. So I'm with you on that.
And it's the sense of urgency around the Avalanche organization changes this math too, because they are all the way in on this season. They are all the way in. All the teams around them have bigger pockmarks than they had in previous years. They all either have injuries, or they have cap problems, or they have underperformance, or they just poorly built a roster in some way. The Avalanche have advantages all over the place. This is the year. They're getting fantastic play down the middle and on defense and in goal. They're getting it from everywhere. This is their best opportunity. And it could get undone because they have been stubborn about this. And it's just boggling my mind every time I think about, how do you let this go on? Mm-hmm. I don't care who you get to do it. It cannot get worse than this. It is unfathomable to me that when you have more players on the ice, there is a 90% failure rate.
Yeah, I'm with you, man. I'm with you. The last thing I'll say before we hit our last break is we made a baseball comparison earlier. I'll make another one. I mean, it's like being the Dodgers, like having, a team full of the best players in all of baseball, and for some reason your team batting average is the worst in baseball, right? Like everything else, you've got all the units, you've got all the guys, you've got the best players, but your team batting average is just like, 210 as a team. And You're just sitting there like, what are they doing? Like what, why? Yeah. Why is that happening? So yeah, it's tough. We got to pause for our last break of the show. After the break, Four Nations or the Olympics, which one was better? And who do we think predictions on MVP from the Olympics? We'll talk about that and more coming up next. Real quick, during this break, I want to give a quick little plug to some upcoming events, specifically March 28th, which I know we're a little over a month away, so you've got time still, but we have a DNVR Avs takeover at Ball Arena versus none other than the Winnipeg Jets. That's going to be taken off at 3 o'clock Mountain Time, heading out to Ball Arena. It's going to be an incredible time if you don't know already. Takeovers for the Avs it's some of the best events that we do. It really is. I know, AJ, last time we talked, you were, I think the Sweet Takeover was coming up and you were coming in for that. I would imagine, I haven't talked to you since then, but I would imagine that was an incredible time.
It was so much fun. And shout out Susan Bednar for dropping in and hanging out with us for a little while.
Oh, yes. That was fun. I remember seeing clips of that. Yeah, no, it's always a good time. So if you guys are new to the show or new to DNVR, hop into thednvr.com/events, scan the QR code that you see on your screen, and get your tickets, because those tickets do go pretty quick. We've got the Avs takeover coming up in March 28th, so head over to the website to secure your tickets. All right, Four Nations or the Olympics, what's your choice? I know they're pretty much the same thing, kind of, similar styles, similar ideas, but from your perspective, what do you prefer more?
If I just watching the actual tournament itself, and I'm not considering impact on the NHL season whatsoever, by far the Olympics. And as we've seen, because like Four Nations was fantastic.
It was.
But the Olympics, like, who wasn't in Four Nations? Slovakia. Yeah. Guess who's going to be in the final or the semifinals? Slovakia.
Yeah.
And they've earned that. They had the toughest group with Sweden and Finland and outplayed both of them and came out as the highest seed and then won their game relatively easily today. Like, that's the only game that hasn't been a banger so far. Yeah. It was actually a closer game than the score looked, and beat a good Germany team. So, like, Four Nations was fun. it was awesome. There were some geopolitical things that made Canada, USA care a little bit more about it, and those would obviously carry over to the Olympics as well.
Sure.
But the Olympics, you don't fight in the Olympics, so there's no line brawl coming. Like the Kachuk brothers going full Mighty Ducks Bash Brothers isn't going to be a thing, right? Like it's not. I'm not expecting that to happen. But the Olympics, it's just a different gravitas. Four Nations is some made up stuff that they did because they wanted to.
Yeah.
It was way better than an all-star game. Way better than an all-star game.
And that's where I give the Four Nations the advantage, just in that context. The Four Nations captured momentum in a place that had no momentum in the All-Star break, right? Like there was nothing else happening at the time. We didn't have the Olympics happening. So you replaced a product that would have been subpar casual viewing in any other context, which would have been the All-Star format, and replaced it with some of the most electric hockey that we've seen in a long time. And because of, like you said, the tensions between the nations and the competition on the floor and the fighting aspect of it, I mean, it just like it reinvigorated my joy with hockey as well in that stage of the season where, I mean, you're talking about must-see hockey happening in the middle of the year when, you know, a lot of times people kind of check out for a little bit. Like even for me covering baseball, like I think baseball has one of the best all-star formats in all of sports. And I still check out during the all-star break. Like I'll turn on the home run derby. I'll casually keep an eye on the all-star game, but I don't really care that much. It's a break for me. Four Nations was like, no, man, I'm watching every single game. Like this is elite hockey. But I agree with you also on the Olympics. It spreads it out a little bit more.
For some reason, the players cared a lot about it, which is the biggest problem with every all-star game format. Yeah. If the players don't care, it's going to be a bad version of the sport, and that's always been the issue. Four Nations was like, we're not doing this like Central Division versus the Metropolitan Division. Who gives a shit?
Yeah.
Nobody cares about this. They don't care about it. We're sitting at home. I'm not like, oh man, the Metro Division has won 5 titles over the years. That's the real champion.
Yeah.
Who cares? Who cares?
Yeah.
This is dumb. It's a 3-on-3 tournament, so the rosters are really small, so a bunch of elite players are not even there. It's just dumb. Mm-hmm. Four Nations rocked because it was like, this gives us real hockey to sink our teeth into during the break.
Yeah.
And the Olympics is elite.
It is.
The Olympics is the best, and we're seeing it. As soon as it got to quarterfinals, what happened? Today.
Yeah.
The two best games of the tournament have happened today. And USA Sweden is the best on paper matchup. Yeah. Hopefully that game lives up to the hype, and it also is great. But like, we should be heading towards something. You know, we could be heading towards a Sweden-Finland final, a Canada-USA final. Fantastic. Those are fantastic matchups for so many reasons. They're historical rivals. They hate each other, genuinely hate each other's guts. You want that. It's going to produce great... Hate produces great theater. It produces great hockey.
It does. It does. That's why I'm a little bummed that they don't have fighting, but whatever. You still get good hockey without fighting. I wanted to ask, you know, what... You obviously cover hockey, but I'm sure you're familiar with the NBA All-Star format. Of course, Major League Baseball's All-Star format. There's a lot of debate around what leagues should do with their All-Star format because, like you said, even in baseball, a sport that has a much better All-Star format than others, players just aren't bought in anymore. There's no need to be. I remember the days in baseball where, you know, the All-Star game determined who got home field advantage in the World Series. And so even that, like, you had some meaning to the All-Star game where it's like guys were trying to like figure that out. They were trying to go out and win because they wanted to get their division home field advantage in the World Series. Which sports league has the worst All-Star format from your perspective? And it's probably between the NBA, NFL, and NHL. From your perspective, which one does it worst out of those three?
Far the NFL.
yeah, exactly.
By far, the sport, it is unrecognizable.
Yeah.
The Pro Bowl is unrecognizable. There are a lot of really good reasons for that, and I get it. if it was just a skills competition, you know, give us some kicking competitions, get us some quarterbacks throwing it, moving targets and stuff, like, you know, like get us some wide receivers just running races, like whatever, right? Like there's so many good reasons for that. I don't think it's recoverable when you consider player safety. Like, yeah, was it a great moment when Sean Taylor almost killed a punter? Poor Brian Moorman, who tried to, you know, run the ball instead of punting it. Yeah, hilarious moment. Thank God he was okay.
Yeah.
But like, who cares?
Yeah.
About the Pro Bowl. Like, it happens after the season. It's just like, just give the guy like a Rolex or something and like $100,000 bonus and like a pat on the back to go and like a free trip to Hawaii, and they get to go and like, it's whatever.
Yeah.
But like the format is meaningless, and there are a lot of good reasons for that.
I feel like it should be just like you just mentioned. It should be like an award thing, right? And it's the same thing I actually think about bowl games. I think bowl games are a waste in college football now, you know, unless your bowl game is a playoff game. Like bowl games, it should be if CU wins enough games to make it to a bowl, but they're not winning enough games to make it to the actual CFP playoffs. Like, I think you should just say, hey, you won enough games. We're going to give you a little trophy or something. You know, we'll sponsor it. And then we're just going to let you go live your off season. You don't need to play the actual bowl game itself. That's the same thing with the All-Star, you know, with the All-Star format, especially in the NFL. If you make the Pro Bowl, just say that. You made the Pro Bowl. Congratulations. You got voted into the Pro Bowl. And we're going to give you, like you said, a Rolex and a pat on the back, and you get to say you made the Pro Bowl, and then you move on with your life. I don't want to see Shedeur Sanders playing in the Pro Bowl because there was 5 other guys in front of him who backed out because they were either playing in the Super Bowl or doing something else. And so, you know, it's like, well, he wasn't good enough to actually make the Pro Bowl, but we're going to put him in there because no one else wanted to do it. You know, it's like, what a joke. Like, what are we talking about? So I agree with you wholeheartedly. I think NBA is a second. I would even say close second for worst All-Star situation. The dunk contest is a joke now, and that was the only thing that made it cool. The All-Star game is a mess. Like, I just don't care about any of it at this point, and I could do without it. I think leagues should just do without it. Entirely.
I do too. I will say one thing I love, the home run derby still rocks. And I've always liked the NHL skills competitions, like the hardest shot and the accuracy and the fastest skater competition. Like, those are fun. I like those.
Yep.
And they really get to showcase how many different skills are required to be good at hockey, because in hockey, like, you can't just be like a guy that goes and hits dingers, right? Yeah. And like, you don't even play defense, right? You're just a DH now. Like, in hockey, you got to do everything, and you have to be good at a lot of stuff. And you see a lot of the same guys showing up at events because they're the elite talent. Like, they're the bomb at these things. And I love the skills competition. The actual All-Star game sucks. It has for years. They made it a 3v3 competition. It didn't get any better. Basketball's not any better. Like, the 3-point shooting contest has become more fun than the dunk contest because there's only so many different kinds of dunks that you can do. And the 3-point shooting contest is kind of what the game is now. So you're like, hey, this is the most translatable skill there possibly is in the NBA.
Yeah.
So I like those skills competitions are actually fun because you really get to see them. The games themselves, for a lot of really good reasons, are garbage.
Yeah. Eline says in the chat, the NBA All-Star game is just a very expensive layup line with pyrotechnics. Nailed it. 1,000%. That's exactly what it is. I mean, what are you even going to do with it at this point? Yeah, it's a mess. We could do a whole show on the dysfunction of All-Star breaks, but I wanted to end the show. You got about a minute and a half, but MVP of the Olympics for hockey. Who's your prediction? Who do you think takes home the MVP?
At the moment, I think Connor McDavid is in the driver's seat there. Okay. Again, just he's so many points, and on the best team, and you know, I think it'll take some work to wrestle that away from him. But at the moment, he's the man. Love it. I love it. I'm with you on that. Yeah, no, it's good. We got good hockey coming up in the mirror in front of us. It's gonna be a good week. We got U.S. and Sweden starting in 10 minutes. Am I correct in seeing that? 10 minutes? 10 minutes. So I want to give us all enough time, 10 minutes, just like you took a break from the watch along that happened before this show.
Go do a little bathroom break, get some food, take a break, go watch US versus Sweden. Then at 2:45, that's showtime, 2:45 for Avs. Jump in, watch the Avs show. DNVR Avs will be popping off at 2:45. That's going to do it for us. AJ, thanks for jumping on, man. This is always a good time.
Always a pleasure, sir. Love
it. Thanks, Tiff, for producing. We'll see you guys next time right here on the Denver Sports Podcast.
We all silly like the mayor.